Welcome to the Radio X Evening Show. My name is Dan O'Connell. We are lucky enough to be joined by Andy Nicholson tonight.
Hello.
Co-founder and original bassist of Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm all right. I'm good, thank you. Very good. Very good.
So it's 20 years since I Bet You Look Good came out. Just over now.
Just over.
Just over last month.
Yeah.
And you've got a book out.
I've got a book out, not playing on the title.
No.
Yeah, I bet this looks good on your coffee table. A book of photos that I took in my time in the band between, well, kind of in a small time of when I was in the band, so between 2005 to 2007. Just photos that I took walking around, touring, sitting, waiting around in dressing rooms, being very bored. Do you know what I mean? The whole hurry up and wait situation with being in a band that you get.
Is it so strange when you have that moment? Because you found a hard drive, right?
Yeah. I did,
And you open it up and you see, wow, look at these folders and look at these files. Was that like a sort of like, did you get a sort of funny feeling in your tummy?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a long time ago. It was about 10 years ago when I found the hard drive. And mentally, and I was kind of in a very different place then. And I found this folder and I looked in a folder and then I looked, and you know what it's like when back then, it's like folder within a folder within a folder within a folder within a folder, and there's one photo. And then you find another folder and then you just keep going forever like that. But managed to consolidate them all, find them all out, try and get some type of organisation to it, and then kind of parked it for about 5 years. Mentioned it to someone, and then a designer friend of mine, Tom Sykes, and he kind of put the first like draft together, and then kind of parked it again for another 3 years, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's going to be 20 years since that album came out. So I thought that in about 3 years that'll be 20 years since that came out. So I thought, right, let me give myself a deadline of try and get it for then. And then slowly pieced it all together, start to try and make a bit more sense of it all, a bit more organisation, and getting different people on board to help with the design side of things. And finally got there. 2 versions. We got a standard version and got a 20th anniversary deluxe edition with like more photos that comes in a bundle with extra things as well.
So you're going to be doing I guess a gallery, right? You're going to be doing an exhibition.
Yeah. I've got an exhibition on the 22nd and 23rd of November in Sheffield at Yorkshire Art Space in Sheffield. So yeah.
And then it'll be out for everyone to buy. You can pre-order it now. And
pre-order the book now. Yeah, they'll be shipped just after the exhibition.
Nice.
In time for Christmas.
I got to say, one thing that I remember in my entire life, and I've had kids, so there's been some special things that have happened in my life.
Yeah.
But I will never forget, I used to do a radio show in Hull, and my friend, Matt, I think his radio name at the time was still Phone Boy, was on a station called Hallam FM in Sheffield, right?
Yeah.
And we both used to do these new music shows. And in 2004, 2005, I remember this moment where he'd got a CD, right, from a gig that Arctic Monkeys had done. And he's in his studio and he's calling me on the phone. It was like a scene from a film and I'll never forget it. And he's playing me down the phone going, you got to play this, mate. You got to play this. Like, you've never heard anything like this before.
Yeah.
And then, of course, over the next 6 months, everything kind of changed. So what was that like to live through?
Yeah, do you know what? I wish I could say it was so I mean, it was exciting, but we were moving in a way where it was just me and 3 of our friends. There were just 4 of us moving in a way where it was like, oh yeah, we'll do that. Okay, let's do that. We're being offered that. All right, yeah, let's do that. Or sometimes we're being offered that. It's like, no, we don't even want to do that. Like being very 18, 19-year-olds about the decisions we're making, not arrogant, but in a way of like, the only thing we ever cared about was playing together. The only thing we ever cared about was, let's write some songs, learn them, be able to play them really well, and perform them to people. Yeah. And then it got to a point where we're doing gigs and people are singing these songs back to us, and it starts to live a life of its own, and these songs just start to evolve, and people are knowing the lyrics better than we know them and singing them back. And there's times where we ain't got to sing the song, they're singing it for us. So we just made sure that we captured that energy and made sure that the energy was as tough and as strong as it could be at any point.
And do you still speak to the lads? Are you still on talking terms,
We talk quite a lot. I sent them a copy
of the book.
Early copy of the book, and got some great replies. Matt said it made him cry. Oh. Jamie weren't far behind. I showed it Al, and we came up with some of the names that I said that were suggested for the working titles. Al came up with a couple of them. He said, good job. The music was good because we didn't look too good either. Do you know what I mean? Like, so good job. The music
Everyone's had a rock and roll glow up over the last 20 years. That's for sure.
Loads of acne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I honestly, I think like most people kind of growing up with the band and it being such a part of the fabric in our country and such a part of the musical culture in the world, I guess, as a fair kind of cop would be that people would always want to know, like, what was it for you that made you just want to give that up?
Yeah, well, it was a difference of reasons. Like I had family stuff going on. They decided to take Nick on tour, came back, decided to keep Nick, so I wasn't in there anymore. After a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years of us parting ways and not really talking a lot, we kind of started to link back up and started to have these serious grown-up conversations and really rebuilt our friendship from there. And everything's been fine since then.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I remember being at a party once with Gerard Butler, the actor.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, yeah. And I was with my mate, and my mate said to him, Gerard, I've always wanted to be an actor, and I've always wondered whether or not being famous is everything it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
And he goes, literally, he pauses, he goes, well, it's not everything, but it's almost everything.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the kind of experience of that? Because you've lived both things, really. You've been in that. You've been in that world, and you've had a life away from that.
Yeah, kind of. But I think when it was happening to me, the whole fame thing, we were all still so young, and so like that is not the reason we were in it. Like the whole fame thing was like a horrible side effect to being successful.
Yeah.
All we cared about was the music and the art and the performance side of it. And then when people start to recognize you and things like that, that's a whole completely different thing. It's like, oh wow, like I didn't even expect anyone to recognize me. And now I'm it's fine. No one recognizes me. No one wants to talk to me anyway. So it's absolutely perfect.
Well, you're here now, big guy.
Yeah. I can.
We want to talk to you.
Yeah, I can walk the streets. I'm safe.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get this on then. As me and Andy have just said, this has turned 20 years old, guys. I know. I'm sorry about that if that's making you feel old. Let's take a little trip down memory lane. A little nostalgia fest with Arctic Monkeys. This is I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor on the Radio X Evening Show. This is the Radio X Evening Show. That was Arctic Monkeys. I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. We are joined tonight by Andy Nicholson, co-founder and original bassist of Arctic Monkeys, and who now has a book coming out this month, which is 175 pages of photographs of the early years.
Yeah. So these are the photos of. It's kind of nice because within these photos, I think everybody but us four got to see what this band did and where it went from the outside, and like, wow, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, they're doing that. Saturday Night Live and Jules Holland and all these amazing things. And I think the photos are quite revealing of, oh, right, they were just sat in another dressing room. They were just on another train, on another plane, in another place. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it might have looked absolutely amazing from the outset. And living it was amazing, completely different. We didn't know no better. But yeah, it's quite revealing as to how normal things really were.
100%. That's exactly what I was going to say. You just get this glimpse into life and you think, wow, it must be crazy. I bet there were pies with just models everywhere and sex, drugs and rock and roll, these four lads from Sheffield living life. And it is just normalcy. In fact, what was really funny is I was looking at it. I had the digital version over the weekend and my 6-year-old, she loves photos and she sees me looking at these photos and she was like, wow, who are those boys from the olden days?
That's exactly it. Yeah. That's all they were.
Yeah, just boys. It was like boys from 20 years ago.
And I think looking back at these photos, you actually get a bit of a grasp of how young we actually were. It's like when you're 19, you think you're a grown-up. When you're 19, you're a child. You know what I mean? And the positions that we got put in as children, really, and still learning to be adults and moving forward and making big decisions were crazy situation.
And I guess that's one of the things most people talk about with fame is that, you know, most of the time you just see the highlights reel.
Yeah.
And nobody's giving you a manual to deal with the emotional side or the mental side or, you know, when things aren't great, like how do you deal with that? Or like, I'm not feeling good about this, but I'm meant to be loving it. And it's like, how do you deal with that? And that manual just doesn't exist for anybody.
Yeah, it's not there at all. And it's quite nice because as we were moving as the band and there was 4 of us, it was like when some people weren't feeling as strong as the others, do you know what I mean? Other ones cared less in a positive way of like, but like I said, all we care about is just playing together. And as long as we're playing together, everything's fine. So when people weren't as confident as each other, they could just stand behind the ones who were. But it's easier than being a solo artist.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess the thing is, I've always loved that saying that life's lived forward but understood backwards.
Yeah.
And I guess now, as let's say an adult, a grown man,
Yeah.
do you think there's things you would have done different?
I'd like to say yeah, but probably not. I think the attitude that we had was what the attitude of the band was, and the energy and the punkiness of it, and the not giving a whatever about it, and I think that is what people fell in love with as well. I think people loved the energy that was involved within that record, and that we managed to put out. And when we did gigs, that was the same energy we were putting out. And yeah, I don't think I'd change anything about it.
I've got a sneaky suspicion the deluxe version of the book's going to do really well, because you've sat down with the one and only, a man who's, I guess he's benefited from meme culture.
Yeah.
He's always part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Chris McClure.
Yeah.
For a conversation around, I guess, the book itself and everything else that was going on. Chris was, for anyone who doesn't know, Chris was on the cover.
On the cover of the first album, So he's the one smoking the cigarette. But Chris was around all the time. Chris was a beautiful human from the first time I met him till today. He's a beautiful human being, and he's definitely part of my family. But he was around, he was friends of ours, and before he was on the cover, we were like, we need a guitar tech. He was like, I'll do it. I'll come on tour. And it's like, he didn't know how to tune a guitar. He didn't know how to do anything. And then once we got a guitar tech, he was like, I'll sell merch. And then he's leaving merch stand to come and stand outside at stage and watch us. We're like, well, they're stealing all these T-shirts, Chris. What's happening? And then we ended up having him on the cover of the album, which worked so nice, because Chris is very much just a normal person, a very beautiful, normal person that really embodied what we were trying to tell about the album, and embodied it all. So from him being there throughout the whole story and the whole situation, I thought, what a better way to do it than me and Chris sat down and went through the books and talked about stories behind the photos, and we managed to capture that, and that's all on vinyl, and that comes with the deluxe edition.
Is there a story that you could give us that you'd kind of forgotten, but one photo brings back the story?
Wow.
A memory.
I mean, the photo of Chris being on the album, I actually took a photo, and that is in the deluxe version, of him smoking a cigarette, looking at the camera, and that was just in a venue called the Boardwalk in Sheffield, which me and Al worked at, and Elders worked at, before we ended up starting the band off and doing quite well. So we would work in there, and I remember one time that I took a photo of Chris and he's smoking this cigarette, and that was like a year before the album came out. Wow. It was like a year before we ended up doing that, and I think I just remember saying, yo, look, I've got this picture, why don't we just get Chris to do this?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I remember at the time as well, I guess, I mean, there was pockets of music that I was aware of. You know, in Hull, there was a guy called Andy who ran a club called Yo-Yo. Yeah. There was some lads in Leeds who did things at the Fav and Brudnell Social Club. Yeah. There was a guy in Donny who was trying to do stuff at a place called the Priory. There was fibbers in York who were doing bits and bobs, and obviously there was a couple of venues in Sheffield. But when I think about it, I remember there being at least like 3 or 4 places at the time, and it was such a rich scene in Sheffield at the time.
Yeah, it felt like, I mean, I always like to give Milburn a big shout out, because they were a huge part of us forming our band and us starting in the first place. So we went to watch Milburn, and we were just like, that's just some normal lads like us. If they can do it, we can do it. Yeah. Let's just try and get a gig. And they said, oh, if you get a band together, you can support us. So we ended up doing that, and we'd supported Milburn a few times, and then as our profile grew, they supported us. But there were loads of bands, loads of 4-piece indie bands around at the time, and we all just used to support each other, play with each other. Like, you support us, we'll support you. Like I said, we supported Milburn, and then once we started doing well, they'd support us, and we took them on a European tour, and there's a lot of photos of them in the book as well.
Yeah. What do you do now for I guess, how do you make a living? What do you do with your life?
I just like to be creative, to be honest. Yeah. I still take photos, I make music, I do production as well. But yeah, just kind of riding the creative wave as much as possible. I think I am a musician, but I learned I'm more of a creative person than just a musician. So like photography, painting, videos, and all types of things. And also I've got kids, so
dad's always meant to come first. I realise that.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have started that by saying I'm a dad, but yeah.
Well, listen, I loved the book, and I wish you all the luck in the world. And honestly, I just hope that you know how important what you guys did at that point, and how much difference it made to our lives, to so many people that I know.
Yeah, no, it's so beautiful. And also, as I'm starting to do this book and starting to talk to more people, I'm hearing people's stories about this album. Like, I spoke to someone today and he was like, "Oh, I got burgled and I'd been to the shop to get a CD and I got your album and I got home and I've been burgled and that's the only CD that I got." And it was just like the stories that I'm hearing from people. And like I always say, like, as much as it was us on the stage writing the songs and playing the songs mean so much to everybody who heard them.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to hear what these songs meant to people and still do mean.
Did you get to go on the Enemy Awards tour? Were you at that point? So you were on that tour, weren't you? Yeah.
We did the Enemy tour, so that was just before the album came out. I think the album came out while we were on that tour.
Yeah.
And then Maximo Park headlined that tour, and then we did pretty much the same venues a few months later headlining. So
yeah, it was crazy. That was a really
the Enemy
crazy
tour
time.
was amazing tour. There was We Are
Scientists, Mystery Jets,
us, and Maximo Park.
Yeah, I mean, it's still to this day one of the best lineups ever. But it was interesting. I spoke to Paul Smith a couple of years ago. We did a gig with him in Brighton and we talked about it. And he actually was so humble. He just said it's one of the only times in his career where he's just like, he wished that he could just go, "Do you know what, you guys crack on?" You know, because it was that there was so much kind of, the energy was just whipping up and they had to go on after Arctic Monkeys and do that.
I mean, in the nicest possible way, we were like, oh, okay, they're going to have to go on and follow that with their energy.
Yeah.
It was very different to our energy, but I think it worked because it was so different as well. Like, our energy was just, right, we've got 45 minutes. Everyone go as hard as you can and let's have it as much as we can in this 45 minutes. And then all playing way too quick and then 5 minutes left to do nothing.
I think it's really interesting because for me, it's a real bookmark. It's a real waypoint in the career of Arctic Monkeys, that tour.
Yeah.
Because if you saw those gigs, and I was lucky enough to see two.
Which gigs
on that tour? I was at Leeds.
Yeah.
Leeds University Union and the one in Manchester. I can't remember where the one.
O2 Academy.
There you go.
Some photos from the O2
Is it in the book?
There,
oh, great.
Yeah. There's a dressing room photo in there. Yeah.
It's just such, when you speak to fans who got to see that tour, that was it. Like we're off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was takeoff. And so special as well to have been at those shows when just a couple of thousand people rammed in a room before everything got crazy.
There was hundreds of thousands of people that said they were at those gigs, but it's just as much as they were at the first gig. And it's funny because people think that there's thousands of people at this first ever Arctic Monkeys gig in Greats, but it was literally like 18 people.
That is one of my favourite things, when you meet 7,000 people who were in the Grapes.
When realistically, back then, I used to work in a hairdresser's and it was full of about 10 hairdressers from Tony and Guy working there, coming to that gig, and family members and friends. So there definitely wasn't 7,000 people.
I remember meeting Keith and Chris from We Are Scientists on the night in Leeds.
Yeah.
And they were obsessed with you guys.
Yeah.
They were just so passionate about Arctic Monkeys. It was so interesting to see two people who were clearly also having a good time. I mean, they love to party.
Yeah.
Those boys love to party.
Loved it. Yeah.
But they were so, I don't know, they were so supportive. They were gunning for you. Yeah, like, they were more passionate about Arctic Monkeys than they were about their own careers.
That tour was beautiful because everyone was gunning for each other as well. We became very good friends with We Are Scientists. I think there's like, we were wearing their merch. You know what I mean? We'd go on that tour and people just won't take clothes. It's like, right, we'll wear Mystery Jets merch, we'll wear We Are Scientists merch. Do you know what I mean? So, and everyone was gunning for each other and still kind of keeping in touch when we can as well. So it was beautiful. The energy was beautiful,
And still to this day, I don't think I've met two crazier people than Keith and Chris from We Are Scientists.
Yeah, I can imagine,
All right, listen, good luck with the book. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. 22nd, 23rd of November. You've got the exhibition in Sheffield.
Yeah, we're looking to try and do one in London as well at some point.
Oh, nice, okay. And you can pre-order the book now as well. It's another, could be, I think, the perfect gift for Christmas for anyone who's an Arctic Monkeys fan. And Andy, just thanks so much for coming on.
No, thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Radio X.